I think we're going to kick it off. You mentioned with the clip I haven't seen yet, actually. You mentioned they were discussing the absolutely cringy ass clip that was going around Twitter the other day of Matt Taibbi, just another document in his intense fucking catastrophic fall from grace. I mean, I can't even imagine sometimes. Like, we've played the clip back and forth, right, where him on the Joe Rogan podcast being like, if you ever find yourself in a position as a journalist, right, where you're being handed things from somebody powerful, you fucked up. And then there's just this clip of him sitting on the Joe Rogan, and he can't take Elon Musk's cock out of his mouth for 1 second even to breathe. Okay, I mean, I think he's going to win an AVN award for this clip. I swear to God, it's some of the best deep throating I've ever seen from a third party.
With Elon, yeah, he went from being the guy who made electric cars sexy to something to the right of Viktor Orban in like 10 seconds. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And the narrative is spread through progressive people. Well, they'll just say it now. It's like they've reached the memo. The memo's got to them. And then I hear people in LA, I hear people that I know like, oh, Elon's just so crazy. It's like something happened to him. He went nuts and he's a right winger now. Like, how? What are you saying? Like, what examples do you have? Like, they don't have an example. They just have this narrative that reached them, the signal. Like, Elon bad now. Oh, right. Elon bad now. Elon bad now. Elon bad now.
I mean, I think they think that because he has, in all fairness, said, right, he wants Republicans to win.
Said that.
Yeah, he has endorsed Ron DeSantis.
I mean, and that's fine. Like, yeah. Joe Rogan also said he would probably endorse Ron DeSantis. Like, he was leaning toward Ron DeSantis, right, that he likes the look of Ron. You're allowed to say those things, but don't pretend that liberals who have liberal politics, who liked when Elon Musk came to also have liberal politics, are no longer like that he has Republican politics.
I think there has been a lot of, I'm not sure they stated it there very elegantly. There has been a lot of, he's a fascist, he's the worst thing to ever happen.
Sure, they make that argument.
But he's a Republican figure.
Yeah, they just sound just as sloppy and unhinged and irrational in their criticism as liberals who call Elon Musk a fascist. Like, everyone throwing the maximalist complaint at each other has absolutely nobody responding to the actual criticism at hand. Not to mention that, as we've been talking about, a lot of people who were hopeful that Elon would actually improve the experience on Twitter, ourselves included, people who felt like we were disadvantaged by the previous regime, that we wanted more transparency, that we felt like there was shadow banning and blocking of people that we didn't necessarily agree with, have not had any of that transparency come to fruition. And moreover, we've had new rules implemented that actually make the user experience less good.
We were going to talk about this in a later segment, but I think we should.
So there's the first timestamp that I wanted to react to. Obviously, that clip is super, super cringy. It's one thing to defend Elon Musk. Go ahead and do that all you want if you think that what he stands for is correct and if you like his ideas. But don't lie to us and gaslight us about the direction that this guy has clearly gone in. As Briahna Joy Gray pointed out, he went from being someone who would consistently signal to the kind of liberal left to someone who now consistently repeats right-wing talking points on Twitter, is immersed in right-wing culture. Clearly, if you go on his Twitter feed and see who he's interacting with, you'll understand that. Someone who has said he would vote for Ron DeSantis. Again, it's not a crazy notion to say that, oh yeah, this guy has trended to the right as of late. This guy is now kind of part of the right-wing media ecosystem.
Yeah, 100%. And not only that, but just covering for the guy and pretending that he hasn't been exposed for an emperor with no clothes on countless occasions. Somebody who is completely unable of, helming a ship, right? He's gotten lucky. He's gotten, he's used his family money to be in the right place at the right time, right? Like, I thought we'd all dispelled of this myth of the the only way to become a billionaire is to become a genius. Like, Donald Trump supposedly became a billionaire, and I don't think anybody's going to be out here toting that accomplishment, right? So let's set that aside. This guy had a bunch of family wealth. Okay, he made multiple smart investments early on in his career, and that allowed him to basically invest and indulge in any kind of ridiculous, boyish hobbies he wanted for the rest of his life. So that was starting X, where he again plagiarized the work of other engineers and made it all his own. I mean, he's basically like a Steve Jobs figure, right? Like Elon Musk doesn't write code, okay? And if he does, it's not like something he does on a day-to-day basis, right? It's not like he's producing the cutting edge material, right? Like more in the sense that he can produce it to review it, right? In a managerial sense, which again is more than Steve Jobs could do, I guess. But you guys will forgive me for the analogy. Then you move over to like what the engineers are accomplishing at Tesla. Plagiarized all of that. It's not like he made electric cars sexy again. It's like no, he sold them to frat boys that want to like suck on his teat for wealth because he's one of the richest men in the world. And I feel like Matt Taibbi, you kind of can tell he's insincere, because when you engage with his old commentary, right? Like he was not divorced from the class element, right? Like he could articulate the flaws with having like Jeff Bezos own the Washington Post, right? He understood that it was a conflict to have a chokehold by the rich over the media system, right? And that was going to produce poor results. But he seems to just completely dispense with that the second that it's Elon Musk now giving him information. He's decided to just become his chief cheerleader and somebody that's going to write puff pieces and defend him on the most popular podcast instead of challenging him as the powerful billionaire that he is.
Absolutely correct. And I wanted to take a look too at the second timestamp from the same rising clip, where Briahna Joy Gray continues with her criticism of the likes of Matt Taibbi and Joe Rogan. So let's take a look here and react to this as well.
It's really so important that we all consume.
I mean, even Elon Musk super fans are complaining about the fact that their feed is entirely Elon Musk. I don't know what to do with that. And so to have that be the case, to have such a frankly diverse body of criticism about what's been going on with the app, with Elon Musk as an individual, et cetera. Not to mention, by the way, to the extent that he's running this as his personal fiefdom, there have been signs of that the whole time. I've been talking about them the whole time. The fact that he chose to ban Alex Jones because he experienced a personal tragedy that Alex Jones, triggered. The fact that he banned people like Kanye West that weren't violating the Twitter guidelines per se, but because it was a bad look for him. On and on and on. It's all been about his personal proclivities and not at all about the best user experience for everybody else. Okay, that being the case, to have such a diverse, like over the last month, so many different kinds of people with so many different kind of politics having an issue with how the site is being run. And to then have Matt Taibbi and Joe Rogan, whose opinions matter, whose work people respect, who kind of present themselves as relatively neutral, and I think they do represent some kind of like middle political ground in the United States, not being willing to engage at all with all of these diverse criticisms starts to make them seem like the exact kind of fanboys and one-dimensional thinkers that they have spent their careers critiquing. And that's regrettable, and I hope they change course.
Oof! Got him right there. That's exactly what it is. Took the words out of my mouth. Couldn't have said it better myself, obviously. Fanboys, just ball lickers for a billionaire, essentially, right? Like, that's what they're doing. It's embarrassing. More embarrassing for Matt Taibbi than Joe Rogan. I don't expect any more of Joe Rogan than that kind of behavior, but I do expect more than that from Matt Taibbi, and I think Briahna Joy Gray does too. And I think that's why she brings a little bit of heat in that commentary there, because it's just sad, it's depressing to see Matt Taibbi stoop so low and defend this guy and do so extremely disingenuously. It would be one thing if he was bringing a hardcore argument here, but I think even if we set aside every ounce of politics, Twitter's working way shittier than it did for the last 10 years any of us used it beforehand, right? I mean, I think that goes without saying. I mean, when was the last time before Elon took over, Gavin, that you logged onto Twitter and you couldn't access your DMs for 5 hours?
Dude, I know.
That keeps happening to me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same.
Or also, why do you it's so obvious how many right-wing commentators they've manipulated to get a boost in the algorithm while they constantly bemoan how right-wingers are being boosted in the algorithm. Like, I guarantee you nobody that we follow gives a single rat's ass what Cat Turd, the fucking stupid-ass right-wing meme account, is constantly putting out. But do you want to see this? Do you want to see this? Do you want to see this? It's irritating. Not to mention that if we hadn't muted Elon Musk, I think we were seeing him all the fucking time on the Vanguard Twitter. It was just astronomical. And then every single time it's still I'm not getting quite as much engagement as I should. I have 127 million followers. This is mathematically impossible. It's no, people just fucking hate you, Elon. They don't give a fuck what you have to say. You are the Twitter equivalent of that U2 album that they downloaded onto everybody's Apple products without asking them questions first. That's how people feel about you, bro.
That's such a great analogy. And yeah, as Briahna says, like, it'd be one thing to sincerely engage with the actual criticisms that have been made of Elon Musk from both the left and the right and the center, and then defend him on those terms. But what we just saw from Matt Taibbi and Joe Rogan is just a total straw man, acting like the only criticisms are coming from insincere lefties who just want to virtue signal about how progressive they are and how above Elon Musk they are, with no evidence of his right-wing turn, when in reality, there's nothing but evidence of his right-wing turn. I mean, this guy is an anti-union billionaire. He's what, the second richest man in the world? Is it really that shocking that people on the left have criticisms of him? Stop acting like it's just this amorphous, blob of fad criticisms that are coming from people on the left, when in reality, there's nothing but sincere and legitimate criticisms, not only from people on the left like Zach and I, but from people on the right like Robby Soave in that clip, who's saying, I actually totally agree that Elon Musk has squandered his chance to fix Twitter, and in reality has only made it worse.
I wonder if you could do a study that would correlate male pattern baldness to fascist pipeline and see, where on the spectrum all of these fellows go, right? You've got Joe Rogan, the Matt Taibbi, Elon Musk, and it's just like, I'm not saying they are fascists. I'm saying on the pipeline. How deep does it? Where on the spectrum, right? From left wing, anarcho-syndicalism, utopia over here to like, whatever the fuck, I don't know. Matt Walsh's vision for America is on the other side right here. Okay. I would describe that as ubiquitously fascist. Okay. So where then, and how much does it change with the balder you get, right? Like the more the public knows, it's like we see Matt with his hat on every single time now. So we know it's getting worse. All right. And I wonder, how far does that drag you? And is there a genetic component to that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's getting into the Tim Pool territory with Taibbi for sure,
bro. And Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore is on. We didn't even talk about that. Jimmy Dore, he's trying to do. I think he's trying to be more savvy about this than Dave Rubin. And now he's like, well, Tim Pool used to be a lefty, and now he's got the freaking firm right wing audience. How do I make that pivot? Notice that when Jimmy goes on these people shows, he never finds the one piece of disagreement that he has with them and makes the entire show about it. He always is just polite and never brings it up. But of course, if he ever has a conversation with anybody even remotely on the left, he makes it a point to signal to his right-wing audience about how he doesn't agree with them about the one thing they disagree on. Very interesting political maneuvering. And I think it's all part of the same nebulous, right? It's like there are way more clicks, there's way more money, there's way more subscriptions to be had if you indulge in right-wing commentary, which we've seen all these people run faster than fuck towards.
Absolutely correct. And just so people don't get it twisted, I don't think that Matt Taibbi participating in the Twitter files reporting in and of itself is as problematic as some have made it out to be. I think that would be a lot more forgivable if Matt Taibbi's recent commentary surrounding Elon Musk itself was more honest, was more measured. For example, you guys might remember we talked about Bari Weiss not that long ago. She also participated in the Twitter files drops, and as soon as Elon Musk started taking the company in an equally censorious direction as the old regime did, the same old regime that the Twitter files was intended to expose in the first place, Bari Weiss put this tweet out, got unfollowed by Elon Musk and accused of virtue signaling for it. But she said the old regime at Twitter governed by its own whims and biases, and it sure looks like the new regime has the same problem. Again, this was like the day after Elon Musk went on a spree of banning his left-wing critics and instituting a bunch of censorious policies. She says, I oppose it in both cases, and I think those journalists who were reporting on a story of public importance should be reinstated. Again, just to refresh everyone's mind, a bunch of left-leaning journalists got banned for discussing the Elon Musk jet tracker account and its suspension from the platform. Guys, I'm no fan of Bari Weiss, you know that. But again, as someone who participated in the Twitter files reporting as well, Bari Weiss actually displayed some legitimate journalistic integrity here by saying, yes, I'll take this material from Elon Musk, I'll publish in it, I'll participate in the Twitter files. But then I'm also going to be honest about Elon Musk's direction at Twitter, the direction he's taking Twitter. And I'm also going to be vocal about my criticisms of the current regime. And we've seen the exact opposite from Matt Taibbi, which is pretty stunning. I never thought I would say a year or two ago that Barry Weiss would be displaying more journalistic integrity than Matt Taibbi, someone who at one point was one of my favorite reporters. But here we are, right? Here we are. Elon Musk is out here doing Matt Taibbi is out here doing literal PR for Elon Musk on the biggest podcast platform in the world, the Joe Rogan Experience. And meanwhile, his contemporary Barry Weiss at least had the balls to come out here and, be vocally critical of the censorious direction that Elon Musk took Twitter right after, buying the company in order to save it from censorship.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you go back to another more neutral party and how they've observed the Twitter files writ large, Glenn Greenwald, when he was talking to Briahna Joy Gray, she asked him, hey, you seem like you would have been a natural choice for this. And he was like, well, aside from the fact that, obviously he's going through some family things right now that wouldn't put him in a position to travel, that he just didn't like the optics of getting fed that information from a billionaire and the person that was now in control of the company. And without slighting Matt, he pretty resoundingly said that was something that he would have no interest in because of the fact that it kind of goes against all of his professed journalistic principles in a matter of words. Again, he put it a little more gently then, because I don't think he was trying to call out Matt Taibbi, but just articulate why it was something he was not interested in. And then for Matt Taibbi to just not only do it, like you said, and not only refuse to criticize Musk for his continued banning spree, for his continued lack of transparency, he's just instead pretended that nobody has any valid criticism of Elon Musk and that they're all just coping crybaby liberals, which lets you know exactly what kind of an audience he's attempting to cultivate right now. Pretty pathetic.